good.
Right. So, good evening, everybody. Again, like for the people who connected maybe just some seconds ago, but so tonight we're streaming the final of the 2024 edition of the World Tournament of World of the Ring board game. And this game will be commented both by me, the Fat Hobbit, and also by Galahad. I will
Hello,
do.
everyone. I'm very excited to be here. It's been a long time since I was last part of a World Championship final. And yeah, it's there's several reasons to be excited. So for one, CircleDakkon is defending his title actually, and that's very impressive considering that both last year when he won the whole tournament, we had I think way more than 100 players, and this year too. And also because from what I understand, Jacopo, there's some history between the Spanish and the Italian community, right?
Yep. Yeah, there is a big, like a fun fact. Right now, in these days, we're actually playing our third tournament where the
Oh
Italian
my
team.
God!
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
you
yeah.
see
So,
that? He just stone cold first draw of the game.
yeah,
Cruel
cool
weather.
weather return to
Oh
Valeno.
my God! Wow.
We're off with a good start.
And I mean, return to Valinor. I'm sorry to cut you off like this, but that
No, no,
is
it's okay.
um. Oh my God! Oh my God! That is it. Oh, I'm so sorry already for the free people. Like, I mean, yeah. Um. Oh, what a terrible start. Oh my God. Um.
Yeah, you wonder
Wow.
yeah, I don't know what is worse for you. Let's see what happens. But
Yeah. I mean, that's still anyone's game, and I mean, I very well recall 2 years ago when I was free people in the first game. Um, I think I rolled like 3 Palantirs and a muster and was very sad initially, but it turned out to be a very good turn one. And I
yeah,
mean, Fermius Rangers is a decent starting card. I mean, it could have been so much worse. Like, imagine he had something unplayable in hand, like the Last Stand or something. So at least he can get the Gandalf cycle going. And if he gets lucky and he draws something like Thranduil's Archers, so he can draw 2 cards or something. But the 2 musters as well. Oh my, yeah, that's not what you want to see in turn one. Like, straight up musters is just really bad early on in the game. So definitely a huge edge for the Shadow in round one.
yeah,
But
yeah.
let's see.
The upsides, as you mentioned, I think is the upside is the for the Palantirs having Gandalf the Grey as a guide. Like you can really set up potentially good defenses by cycling a lot of
Yeah,
cards.
and the good thing about the Gandalf cycle is that it allows you to fish for strategy cards that are
Yeah,
really impactful, like something like Dane Ironfoot's Guard. Like if Duel comes under attack and you have that hidden in your hand, that's just a really big swing potentially. Or other key cards that can really swing the tide of a siege. And I
so
mean, to be fair, Shadow is not progressing much, but they have a lot of musters, which is very crucial in
yeah.
the early game.
Mhm. I would say
Okay, he
pretty.
uses interesting. So he doesn't have a playable
Yeah,
card then.
it goes for
Oh,
Moon.
and it's a hit.
Mhm.
And a 0 reveal. Oh my god, that is a terrible start. Ah man, that is rough to see. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely that round one went about as bad as it could have gone for the free people. A 0 reveal, so he doesn't even get to use try to hide with the muster die.
yeah.
Wow.
Franatleti commands are not a good
Yeah,
start.
I feel for you, man. Yeah, that's really not a good start. But I mean, we've all been there, I think, in games where you're off to a really bad start and you think, oh my god, this is looking so bad. But sometimes these things can swing wildly around, and yeah. But definitely after round one, I would say Shadow is certainly favored. But yeah, it might swing.
Yeah, it might swing. Yeah,
Anytime.
but yeah, I agree with you on the
And I mean, the
current
elves are
situation.
almost at war, so it might not be as easy to get to 10 victory points quick. We'll see.
Are you going to
And I mean,
do
yeah, we
strat?
know that. Well, actually, we don't know. He might not use the Palantir to draw a card, which is a very weak action. He might actually use a ring.
Yeah, I think you have time for that. I don't
But
think it's
yeah, I think with that start, I would be careful to use a ring here. But I can definitely see his point. Like drawing a card now is a very bad action, and
Why you say
turning
so?
it into an army die is pretty good. Oh wow, many kings, definitely
Hmm.
great card.
Why would you consider it a bad action to do a strategy card early in the game?
I mean, drawing a strategy card is not terrible, but it's wow, new powers rising.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's like if you put a value to each different action you can perform, then drawing a card is a pretty much at dead bottom. That's like the weakest action you can perform. So anytime you have
Sure.
a really terrible action and you can use a ring to make it into a really great action, that is something you should consider, right? I mean, do you need to do it in round one? Probably not. But
No, for
you
sure. Like
might.
I get your point. Yeah,
Like
like
later on in the game,
mhm.
the Palantirs are not so bad. You can use them and maybe play something like Ringwraiths are abroad. But if you don't have anything playable in hand and you're just drawing a card, like you get the Witch King cycle later on as Shadow. Well, that's a much better draw for the
Yeah, on both parts, I would say this is a much more
and he switched to Strider. That's interesting. So he can now hide with a Muster Die and then potentially move 3 times.
versus
The
one
only
eye.
downside is it's gonna be hard to kill off Gandalf like this.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah,
against only one eye, it's just kind of unlikely to kill Gandalf to begin with. Yeah,
yeah.
and I mean, yeah, it's not great either because CircleDakkon now has 6 attack dice. Though, okay, I guess having 4 character dice this early on in the game is also not ideal.
Yeah, but still better than nothing. I think that with let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I mean 7 military actions, you can set up quite quickly the.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, is there a world where you get the Witch King this turn? And there certainly are
Yeah,
options to do that. He can just
Lorien.
beeline straight to Lorien. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
that.
something you can consider. I'm not sure, like I'm not a fan of that move because that makes the duel line really difficult, and Goner is always difficult, especially now that Faramir has been played. So it might get you the Witch King really fast, but it might also cost you a lot of turns or a lot of actions later on in the game. So I
The
don't
thing,
think that would be a good idea.
the thing is also, and this might be a completely unpopular opinion, and it's a personal one, that sometimes I think that going for Gondor might be faster even, just for the fact that
Sometimes, yeah.
it's like objectively closer, and sometimes you can take advantage of like the right timing. So like maybe the you can attack Gondor, maybe the 3 people player manage to master only once inside, or like inside Dolan Roth or Minas Tirith. So
One other option, but I think that is maybe not the best. Well, there's some. hmm.
yeah, it's kind of
He
a
could actually
gamble.
use
It's
the Master
yeah,
Die to play a New Powers Rising, and then with the character dice just besiege Helm's Deep. Use
yeah,
a ring on a character die to get the Witch King,
yeah.
and yeah,
That's an option that
like the
actually
odds
I
of
would
seeing
prefer.
Gandalf the White come out this turn are astronomically low. Like it's
Yeah.
so unlikely that CircleDakkon gets Gandalf the White this turn. Not CircleDakkon, Franatleti.
So if you
Because he would need to
play,
be hit twice, right? Be hit on the first move,
yeah,
unless you random, like you move once, you get hit with like a 3, you random into Gandalf the White, into Gandalf the Grey. Very, very unlikely. So he does
yeah,
actually go for that. Okay.
yeah. I was actually
He
counting
cannot hear us
now.
though, can he?
No, you
CircleDakkon
cannot.
cannot hear us. Okay.
No, you cannot. No. No, before I had to explain to him everything via WhatsApp. The
Yeah,
thing
because I
is,
think this is a very good move because it
yeah,
makes good use of the character dice, right? Usually the problem with a shadow rolling many character dice early on is that they're only half as good as army dice. But not in this case, because now he can attack with the character dice, and we know what Free People wants to do. They want to sprint the Fellowship as fast as they can. They do not want to use those wills to move armies around. So
for
it's
sure,
very likely that he can just march from Orthanc into Helm's Deep and fight only 3 regulars.
for sure.
Yeah, and then he gets the Witch King without putting the Elves to war.
No, I like the raw line. I was calculating the number of attacks. It was around 5 attacks for the shadow, so I think you can get 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, you can get up until Edoras if everything goes smoothly. But
yeah, but why would you want to go for Edoras? Like, this is
no, I
not
mean
looking like a very military game. I don't think.
for the Edoras, what I mean is that you can take the majority of Rohan because
I
that's
don't
like
think that's the plan here. It wouldn't be my plan. My plan would be to snatch Helm's Deep ASAP, get 2 victory points that will be almost impossible to retake later on. And then when you see Gandalf the White, that's when you start mustering some walks into Orthanc. Well, actually, when Gandalf dies, this is probably the point where you put some walks into Orthanc, so you don't lose Saruman to Ents.
okay.
Right, and he plays Great Host as combat card. That is a little risky. If 3 people found Scouts, then Great Host will be wasted, but I definitely see the play.
Yeah, I guess you
And
could have
that is
waited a
Stun Strike. Wow, okay. That's not gonna do much, probably. Well, it does get a
one
hit.
hit. Yeah,
Okay.
1 hit. I guess I would have waited for the get toast. It doesn't. The, there are bigger chances. Is more. Yes, maybe there is one extra regular in steep, but the chances of scouts
Well,
is
that's
such a good.
some very encouraging rolls from the 3 people.
Yeah.
Probably not enough, but very good rolls.
Mm.
And like the good thing is that, or at least the good thing from CircleDakkon's point of view is that he does not really need to worry about taking Helm's Deep quickly, because there's not a single card that lets you muster in Helm's Deep as long as there's no companion there. So the
Exactly.
only worry would be for the Edoras army to come marching up. But doing that before getting Gandalf the White, so being on 4 dice, is so expensive that you basically never see that happen.
Yeah, that's a good point that you raised there. Yeah, so there's like the lack
Yeah, like
of yeah of
yeah
actions, let's say. Hmm.
yeah if you're Shadow and you see like you're in this position and you see the 3 people player start marching the Edoras army over to Helm's Deep, that would make me very happy, because that's almost certainly not going to be enough to
Yeah.
stop Helm's Deep from falling, and it's costing so many actions.
Yeah,
Yep, safe.
personally, I always think in terms of three people's defense, in like how many dice can I manage to, how how can I make for the shadow player to waste more dice in some sense.
Yeah,
And I found out, for example, that most of the times, yes, of course, the reinforcements for Edoras to Helm's Deep are important, but having that annoyance around, like most of the times Helm's Deep is gonna
absolutely.
like
Yeah,
fall easily,
like
and yeah,
yeah. That's exactly the point. If you see like a giant Orthanc army, then those 2 units from Edoras
yeah,
probably won't make a difference. So in that case, you don't really cost the Shadow any dice by bringing them over. Sometimes, right? In this case, they certainly would have made a difference, but 3 people didn't have the actions to do that. And yeah, I mean, seeing a New Powers Rising come down on turn 2 of the game is definitely not something you want to see as 3 people. That's just, yeah, tough to deal with. One other thing though is sometimes, like normally you just try to stall the shadow as much as you can, but sometimes you can get in those situations where shadow rushes to attack some places, and then there's a very delicate tipping point where if the shadow army ever gets damaged enough, that suddenly you might lose everything pretty quickly.
Another nice move from CircleDakkon moving towards
Yeah,
Woodland Realm. Yeah.
that is interesting. So, well, we know that Free People doesn't have scouts, but if he did have scouts, then suddenly using When Will of the West to move armies might actually be an interesting move. But we
Yeah.
know he doesn't have it, so it probably doesn't make sense to not use a will to move here. I'm just thinking the way this is going, as Free People, I would be thinking it's extremely unlikely to win this race. Though maybe extremely unlikely is an overstatement. So let's think. If they take Helm's Deep quickly and Woodland Realm quickly, then where are the other victory points coming from? I mean, Dol Amroth will be hard to defend, but that's only 6 victory points.
I think Airbock will still be a choice.
Oh, wow. So he does
Oh,
go for it.
okay. That's impressive. I don't know if I would have done that, honestly, as a Free People player.
I would definitely have been. I mean, I mentioned I would be thinking about it. It's just so much more potent if you can at least bluff scouts, or if even better you have it.
Yeah.
Because if you can scout, though maybe he does have it, and maybe he just
Maybe.
then why
Let's
would you
see.
play Sunstrike?
Yeah, I don't. But I don't know.
Oh, and he moves. Oh, so he doesn't even care about the Edoras army.
No.
Interesting.
The fact is that the Edoras army, unless Ronin is at war, is kind of sitting there and doing
Yeah, but it
nothing.
can, like when you only have one nation at war, and that's Rohan, and you start mustering an Edoras, that can actually be really scary.
For sure.
Because the Helm's Deep army, after taking Helm's Deep, might be down to only like 3 or 4 regulars, so that might not be strong enough to then also take on Edoras.
Hmm.
And
So you're
so
saying as
later on in the
a
game,
preparatory move, like to prepare the armies closer to Orthanc, closer to Helm's Deep, closer to.
well, the thing about Rohan is this: they are on a very central point in the map, and they can basically go anywhere. So
Mhm.
they might threaten a retake on Helm's Deep later on if you let them muster up an Edoras, or they might retake Lorien, or they might, take some Shadow strongholds. So it's just very uncomfortable.
No
Um,
scout from Franatleti in the end.
yeah. I mean, we were kind of sure that
Yeah.
he wouldn't have scouts. When you play Sudden Strike in Forts of Eisen, then you probably don't have scouts.
So yeah, I mean, like that's it's kind of painful
Just
to use a
looking
Will of
really
the
rough
West.
for the
Yeah.
uh so you go for Woodland Realm, sure. That,
I guess.
like I mentioned, you don't really need to risk Helm's Deep. There's no way
Yeah.
Rohan
Mhm.
can reinforce that without a companion. And Rohan is not at war, so this is actually a very, very smart choice of getting the Witch King. I mean, I'm not even
Yeah.
sure he gets the Witch King this turn, but getting the Witch King without causing Rohan to become more troublesome. Yeah, he does get the Witch King. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes total sense.
Yeah, that was another question. Like, would you have attacked, for example, Woodland Realm immediately, in order to decrease even further the chances for Franris archers to be played? Or
Nah,
would?
I
Yeah.
wouldn't do that.
Okay.
Um, like Thranduil's Archers is the only thing that can help in Woodland Realm, and that only puts it to
Yeah.
5 hit points. So you can just reinforce that army, and like you're not under that much of a threat right now as Shadow.
Yeah.
Nothing else is at war,
Yeah.
so nobody can stop you from reinforcing that army in Woodland Realm. You have. Oh, he played many kings. Okay, so he doesn't have many kings anymore. But still, like once
Yeah.
you have the Easterlings at war, you
Yeah.
can easily reinforce the Woodland Realm siege.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. You don't need to. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's quite likely that he will get 2 musters next turn now that he's on 9 dice. Yeah. Yeah, round 2 definitely also very much in favor of the shadow. So this is starting to look really bad for the free people.
Oh.
And fighting Urukai. I mean,
Kind of an overkill over Ram's Deep, but
kind of an overkill. At the
yeah.
same time, though, I mean, sometimes, especially like you only have 2 leadership right now in Helm's Deep, and if you ever have to downgrade to press, then and you maybe take 1 hit, then you're down to just regulars, and suddenly every round of combat is another die. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's an overkill.
Yeah, but also very
Fighting Urukai.
simply is just an extra attack for a Palantir. So like even if it was overkill, like so for
Yeah,
example here, yeah,
that too. And he does roll 1 additional. Oh
that's
my,
a great.
oh my god. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is unfortunately panning out to be a very one-sided game.
Ah.
It's another amazing action die roll for the shadow. I mean, turn 1 was okay for the shadow, not super spectacular, but round 2 and round 3 was just amazingly well rolled action dice for the shadow, and now round 3 is just a nightmare for the free people. I mean, you already used 1 ring because you didn't roll any movement round 1, and now round 3 you again didn't roll any movement. Shadow on 9 dice. Ah, god, that's not good. That's very not good. And we know that Shadow still has Scroll Weather in hand. And yeah. And situations like these, it's really not easy to defend with just 4 dice. So what's the plan for Shadow now? I mean, we know that he has Deadly Strife in hand, so I think you might just try Woodland Realm once, see how that goes, and see if you need to reinforce or not. And I would... but maybe... I'm thinking you could use the muster and muster like an Isengard elite in North Dunland. You have, with New Powers Rising, a very sizable Isengard army in the Dunlands. Together with Moria, that's a very strong force that can threaten Lorien or Rivendell.
But with the elves at war?
Well, the elves are at war, so he can muster up a lot, but the elven force pool is so small, they only have 4 leads and 2 regulars left.
Yeah,
So
still.
what are they gonna do? Like, if they muster everything into Rivendell and Lorien, then sure, that's fine. You traded some dice, and you still have a very big army that can just go to the Shire and Grey Havens, for example.
But what about trying to take Erebor as fast as you can?
Erebor.
Yeah.
Why would you hurry about Erebor? What's gonna like?
No, I mean to
I
finish
don't.
off quickly Wooden Realm and try to go on Erebor as fast as you can.
Yes, that is another option that you could do. But that, like, before I decide on that, I would try Woodland Realm once with Deadly Strife and see if it falls in 1 die.
Yeah, for sure.
If it does, then you
Yeah.
can think about Erebor.
Because like I'm trying to consider the options here. Like Gondor, despite the many attacks, doesn't look very appetizable because of Faramir Rangers and all this master. Like definitely, I
Well, there's
wouldn't go.
always Corsairs of Umbar for later on.
Yeah, exactly, but not at this moment. Like if you need to make
Yeah, not at this moment.
a tactical decision right now, I don't know. Like I would like to push the front of the dew line. At the same time, let's suppose you take the
Yeah.
dew line. It's 5 points. Let's suppose you take, which I think
Well,
is
you
very
will
likely.
definitely take Helm's Deep for sure. So you would
Yes,
be at 7 points, and then if you
7
ever find
points.
Corsairs, it's basically GG. Unless the dwarves put up much of a fight, or we have some wild luck swings in the other direction.
But without
Yeah, my gut feeling says try Woodland Realm with a Deadly Strife and then take it from there. And if that goes well, you push the Southerns to war and merge the Rune armies together with the Woodland Realm Shadow army and push on Erebor.
But the other thing is that, okay, so in that scenario that you get those 7, 8 points, let's say, in the case that you don't draw Corsairs, because it may happen you don't draw Corsairs.
Yeah, it might be the bottommost card, for example, or in the bottom
Yeah.
3 or something.
So
Sure,
what's
could happen.
what's the plan? Like 3 strongholds and 4 cities, like Helm's Deep.
That is always a plan. Yeah. Well, but I mean, it depends a little on how much time you have. Like, what's the Fellowship doing? How big are your armies? That would depend a lot on how the Helm's Deep fight is going and where those musters from the 3 people are going. But yeah, definitely taking 3 strongholds and 4 cities is something that's very hard to defend against.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I think that you can still go, like if this turn, for example, the 3 people player wants to employ all his mastering resources to buff up the defenses in Lorien and Rivendell, okay, fair enough, you can do so. And I probably noted that those are not going to be my most probable target, even though you never know, it may happen or not. But you want to do that way, you're also kind of solving the puzzle for the shadow player, because like, okay, most likely I'm not going there. But if, and I think this is what we're going to see, if the 3 people player doesn't use those resources in the defense of these 2 strongholds, and you just wait, you don't make a move on the Elven strongholds yet, and in future turns, the 3 people player rolls no masters. That's the window that you're hoping for.
Yeah.
So
I've abused that so often. Yeah. That is a very strong situation for the Shadow. He can take the Elven strongholds at any or make a push for the Elven strongholds at any time, and if the 3 people rolls like for movement or movement and Palantirs, then yeah, it doesn't matter that the elves are at war.
That's why probably this turn as CircleDakkon, I would push the dual line conversation.
Yeah,
but
I agree. I think
let's
that
see what
is
happens. I don't know. Probably not.
I mean, he's hovering Dag a lot. But
I bet
seems yeah.
a better question would be, what would you do as 3 people player with those dice this turn?
I mean, you would pass for as long as you can and hope the Shadow gives you a direction which to go. And this looks like a push towards Lorien from Dunland together with the Morannon army. That is interesting.
Let's see.
Not something I would have expected.
Not me neither. That's why we're not in the final of the championship.
I mean, definitely. CircleDakkon has proven that he's a very, very strong player, and I wouldn't call it a mistake by any stretch. It's just I usually don't like moving the Morannon army over to Lorien because it's quite far away, and you have usually the Dol Guldur army, which is much closer. And it's rare that you see an army of 5 regulars move somewhere. So yeah, okay, it does not seem to be his intention to go that way after all.
Yeah, I cannot. I played with CircleDakkon a bunch of times because of the Italian community. So and I've gathered some ideas about his style, but honestly, I cannot really understand what's going on in his mind at this point. Oh, okay. South Dunland.
Interesting. So he's merging the Southrons in South Dunland. I usually like to merge them in North Dunland so they can threaten Lorien or Rivendell. And I guess he doesn't find that too appealing because the elves are at war. And something he might do is, yeah, he might push.
Okay, I think he's made up his mind probably this point, just playing
Amroth.
faster. Yeah. Yeah, he's playing fast. I think he's made up
And
or something
now,
like
okay, so he's moving the Morannon army over to Rune,
that.
and he's okay.
Okay.
So he wants to conquer the entirety of Rohan.
I think it's also legitimate maybe to be slightly worried about the Rohan situation, given the mini masters. I don't know if this
Yeah,
is what he's
absolutely.
thinking.
That is something you can worry about for sure.
So okay, something missing. Push towards one. Okay. I guess now we're
And
going to
certainly it
see.
makes
Sorry.
it very awkward for the three people to defend against this. Because you don't really
Yeah.
want to use a muster to push Rohan to war when there's a giant
Indeed.
army in Helm's
Yeah.
Deep. And you also kind of don't want to muster the elves too much, especially now that all the armies have moved away from the other elven strongholds.
On the
So
other,
what do you actually do now as three people? Like
I
you can
think.
muster Gondor to war, but that is also very awkward.
Hear me out, and maybe this is a very stupid idea. What about pushing the dwarves?
I like pushing the dwarfs, but not in this position, I think. I mean, actually, if you push them 3 times, because the Southrons are not at war yet,
It's
it
not that
might
bad.
actually work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something you can consider.
Oh, but
Caliban's Galadrim.
okay.
Yeah.
We're digging. We're trying to find something else, I guess.
Yeah, he's definitely digging for cards. It's
Mhm.
so he's not mustering the dwarves, which I can see. I mean, it's very awkward. You spend 3 musters, which is basically almost all your turn to just get the dwarves to war, to get 1 extra lead in there, which yeah might be enough to stall for some time, but you're spending an entire turn to do that.
I would only do that because the Shadow has moved his army from Morannon to Saffron. So it's kind
Yeah,
of like, okay, you're spending so many resources to go in that direction. I'm also going to spend some resources to make your life more difficult over there.
it's a
Um,
slower approach, which is
yeah.
safer, and I think you can do it here because the 3 people are moving so slowly. So you don't want to be in the situation that I mentioned before, where you kind of attack a little too hastily, um, and give the opponent a window to strike back if anything goes wrong. And now with this approach, you now have a very big army in Helm's Deep. You're moving a very sizable army towards the dwarves. You're not pushing anyone to war, so it's very awkward for the 3 people to use their dice efficiently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very smart play because he has the time.
Yes.
And I expect his next action will be push the Southrons to war, so
Mm-mm.
only the elves will be at war. And again, it's going to be awkward for Franatleti to defend against that.
Do you think that just for dice efficiency, do you try to take Amsteep with a fighting Urukai this turn,
It's
despite the many
definitely something I would
masters?
be thinking about because you don't know when you'll get another opportunity to use fighting Urukai. As long as you don't see half orcs and goblin men,
Yeah, that's a
it
good
might
point.
not be used
Yeah.
anytime soon. Because where is that army going, right? The army is going to Edoras, and then after Edoras, there's no easy stronghold left, especially now that Franatleti is pushing Gondor to war. So Minas Tirith is going to be a tough nut to crack.
Yeah, indeed.
The other question was, would you use a ring to move, considering that you didn't have an efficient action with your muster die, right? I mean, pushing Gondor closer towards war is not bad, but it's not. It doesn't have an immediate effect on the game. And
Yes.
even if you bring Gondor all the way to war, you like you probably would start mustering up Dol Amroth. That takes even more actions. And I have seen 7 hit points in Dol Amroth still get slaughtered by the 12 hit points coming over from Umbar. So even that wouldn't be safe.
Now,
Because if you don't have a leader, I feel a 7 hit point army on defense isn't that strong.
yes, the only reason why I would think about sending Gunnar to war this turn is that maybe the shadow player, who we know is very strong and can be very sneaky, as Mikel is playing, could have put to the side the right amount of dice until the last actions of the round in order to send the Suffering Instant to war, move the Nirarad army into Ambar, and then play Corsair.
But if he had Corsairs in hand, you couldn't have prevented that anyways. Because you need 2 actions just to get Gondor to war. He needs 2 actions to get Fahara to Umbar.
You
And then
can
even if you
master
start
one time.
one,
You can master
yeah,
one
you
time
can
in the
muster
lab,
one
right?
elite, but then you have 5 hit points defending without leader, defending against a 12 hit point army. That's almost certainly not going to be enough, unless you also happen to have Kid and ships in hand,
But the thing is that
or Imrahil.
But the thing is that in this scenario, it wouldn't be 5 8 points versus 12. It would be 5 versus 8 because
Why 8?
because the only army that you can bring to Ambar to attack this round of the Lamrot is the one from Nigarad to Ambar. You cannot bring
Now,
it.
yeah, now.
Yeah. But
I
that's
would
what I'm trying
think
to
more at the
say.
start of
Yeah.
the round. If you had Corsairs of Umbar in hand at the start of
Sure.
the round,
Yeah.
you would play this round very differently. I think you just beeline straight to Umbar and bring the Southrons to war and be
Yeah.
ready. So if
Yeah.
he ever does muster Gondor to war, then you could just jump Gondor. So I think Franatleti knows that there's no Corsairs this round. Otherwise, CircleDakkon would have played completely different.
Yeah.
And I think if you would see Shadow beelining Southrons to war and then moving Faharat closer to Umbar, then I don't think you would you spend all your dice to try and ready Dol Amroth? Yeah, maybe you would.
I
You
would
would have
say,
enough time.
I,
Yeah.
I would just send Gondor to war at this point, given the situation. Why not? I mean, what am I using these
Well,
dice for either way?
the one thing is that the Free People nations are very close to war, almost all of them, other than the dwarves, but we see a giant army heading towards Erebor. So we might see a very early Mouth of Sauron.
Yeah, that's right as well. Yeah.
And sometimes you have these games where all the nations but one are at war, and it's usually either the dwarves or the north that are far away from war. Or Rohan. Yeah, Rohan or the dwarves, I think, are the
Rohan,
most
yes.
common to be last. And in this case, it looks like the dwarves will not last for too much longer
Oh, we're going for
before they're
fucking.
at war. I mean,
We're going for
yeah, fighting
fucking
Uruk-hai
Urukai, I
to take Helm's
guess.
Deep,
Yeah.
and then you can march towards Edoras. Yeah, that makes sense.
The only thing that I don't understand is, okay, sure, you want to make these master results for the free people player as uncomfortable as possible, but you are kind of inefficiently using hybrid results to master the suffering towards war. Basically.
Yeah, but I mean, is it that inefficient? You want them at
It's
war,
not
I
that,
think.
no, for sure it's not that inefficient,
But
but
yeah, I guess you didn't need them at war this turn the way you're playing. So yeah, you could have gambled on rolling a straight muster next round, I guess. Sure, you could have done that. I don't think it changes much.
yeah, probably not at this pace. Treats back.
Yeah. So I mean, Franatleti is rolling well in combat, I feel, but it's not very impactful regardless, because he's just outnumbered and his fellowship is just taking a break from all the stress. I mean, they've been hit on the very first step, so you can understand them being a little cautious now. But yeah, tough luck.
Helm's Deep is the first blood of the game.
Yeah, Helm's Deep is done. And CircleDakkon is on the board now. But he already has other things lined up for him. So do you muster now in Westamnet and Edoras? Or do you start mustering Dol Amroth now that you've gotten Gondor to war? The one thing I would like is putting at least a regular into Westamnet so that CircleDakkon can't just move in there and then has another half move elsewhere. And I guess sometimes Rohan can be a little annoying because you attack Edoras, but you only hit on 6s, they retreat to fold, and then you attack them, they run away, and then you chase this Rohan
Yeah,
army
that's the thing. Yeah.
all the way around. The problem though is that the 3 people only have 4 dice, so that's not really a kind of warfare that they can afford right now.
No, for
Unless
sure.
Shadow starts rolling a ton of dice, a ton of ice.
The for people strategy is for sure been handicapped in this game by the lack of actions. So,
Yeah, I mean, a Shadow didn't roll a single eye this turn or the last.
yeah,
So
it's ideal, I would say, for.
yeah, definitely. And I mean, you forced 3 people to not use a Will of the West to move last round by pressuring Helm's Deep and Woodland Realm so much.
Yeah, I'm
And
still not
yeah,
sure if the movement from Karok to Old Forest Road was the right call, but would I prioritize another movement?
I can see the reasoning behind it. The reasoning was the way this is going. If I just sprint the Fellowship, I'm gonna be too slow. That was my gut feeling as well. My feeling was that if Franatleti just runs, and we can see this round that the Fellowship is not fast enough, so he needs to defend something and hope for the best.
Yeah, but that regular is gonna die most surely, especially if you don't have
Yeah,
scouting. So
sure. It would have been much better if you had scouts in hand, and suddenly
yeah.
you threaten to bring the North active if they keep attacking Woodland Realm. But I mean, yeah. What do you do? And I mean, in these kind of situations, you sometimes have to go for the low out play because if you just rush the Fellowship, I think you'll almost certainly be too slow.
Mm. We see the approach towards airball. We don't see an attack towards Western Net. And
No, yeah, but I think if there wasn't a regular in Westamnet, you would move the Helm's Deep army to Westamnet and also move the Rune army to Iron Hills.
right.
So by mustering into Westamnet, yeah, you force the Shadow player to go elsewhere.
Oh, Candles of Corpses, always good.
I don't think Candles of Corpses is a card you want to see right now. Nazgul Search would be, I think, a very, very good card now. Because it doesn't look like this will come down to corruption. This looks more like a
Yeah.
Fellowship is
Again,
gonna
no,
be too
one
slow game.
eye. One eye on again. Let's see the goal for the two
Yeah,
people.
and
And
I mean
now the
this roll looks
movement.
good, but against only one eye, it's still awkward.
Yeah,
You can
but
move 3 times. It's
yeah.
somewhat likely that Gandalf will die, and then you can get Gandalf the White. Though at this point you have to worry about Day Without Dawn. Though also at this point you are so far behind now, I think that you
That
just have
you
to
can,
risk it.
yeah, you cannot care about that at this point, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
You need to take your chances.
But I mean, like this is so awkward. Imagine if Shadow had just drawn Corsairs of Umbar, right? And you spend all this time mustering Gondor to war, and then
Yeah.
you see Southrons marching into Umbar. Are you just gonna ignore the threat of Corsairs and
But
keep
that's
on
why
marching the Fellowship? That's gonna be too slow, probably, anyways.
that's why the last round probably I would have mastered in Dolamrov with the last master for the few people. I understand the Western net move. That's also very good, but question.
Yeah, it's tough. It's just tough. I think CircleDakkon played it very well to
Yeah, no, for sure.
not give away where he was going until it was too late for the free people to really react to that in an efficient manner. And I don't think there was an efficient answer to it.
A question for you. Would you go for Dolamrov this round?
As Shadow.
Yes, of course.
I mean, you have 4 attacks, right? 1, 2, 3,
5,
4.
actually. 5.
Well, yeah, but you don't have leadership in
But you have
Harondo.
but you have Nazgul Strike. It's kind of
So he's asking about
inefficient.
Day Without Dawn, or what does that? I can't read it.
Do you have? I
I
mean,
think
yes.
he's asking about
Yeah,
Day
yeah,
Without
yeah,
Dawn,
yeah.
and I that's definitely a question that's going through the Free People's players' minds, like we talked about. But I think at this point you just have to risk it. I don't think you should start out with the Will of the West necessarily. Like you usually would, but in this type of situation, you're so desperate. Like if you use all your wills early, those are like your jokers to maybe defend Dol Amroth, and maybe get Gandalf. It's tough. It's just tough. I think if Shadow has Day Without Dawn here, it's almost unwinnable.
Everyone watching knows.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because if Shadow has Day Without Dawn, you almost certainly play it here anyways. And then you get at least 1 die, and you are guaranteed to not see Gandalf the White this turn.
No, it's a crash move right now.
At the same time, though, if you don't use the will here and the Shadow takes both dice away, yeah, even.
No, but I think, as you said, it's correct for the few people player to take some risk here.
I mean, look at the odds. I mean, there's a 5 out of 25 chance, so basically 20% chance that Shadow has Day Without Dawn in hand. So there's an 80% chance they don't. So I think it's correct to not play around it here and take the gamble. You've been desperate, or you are desperate now, so you have to take a little bit of a gamble. And I think it's correct to not play around it. But I mean, I'm saying this knowing that there's no Day Without Dawn. So yeah.
Oh,
This is
well,
this is an exciting move.
let me tell you, Franatleti is playing in a real Spanish style at this very moment.
In a what style?
In a Spanish style. This is something very common in their community. They like to do this a lot.
Ah, interesting. I didn't know about that. He
Yeah,
never
yeah, yeah.
pulled something like this against me, I don't think. But it's been a while that we played. Like I've played several games against Franatleti. And we talked a lot of strategy back then. But yeah. Yeah, this is definitely unexpected.
But why do not separate
And
Gandalf as well? So you're guaranteed to get Gandalf the White.
yeah, that's interesting. I can understand not separating the hobbits, but
Yeah.
keeping Gandalf and
Ah, no, okay, he's going. He's going.
yeah.
The
It would be
Hobbits.
very weird if you didn't bring Gandalf.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think this is gonna be a long one instead. No, who knows?
I'm not sure,
Who
but
knows? Let's see.
so the thing is, if you get both Aragorn and Aragorn and Gandalf this turn, you're doing
Which you
nothing on the
will.
board. Which
Yeah,
you will, but you're
you
doing
will.
nothing on the board.
Okay.
And now, I mean, oh no, Shadow does not have a ring. But you have Nazgul Strike, so you can get leadership into the Haradrim armies. So yeah, you have a clear way to besiege Dol Amroth
Yeah,
this turn.
exactly. That's my
Um,
thing. Like at this point, you definitely go for Dolan at that point, if this is the idea.
yeah, I think you just prioritize getting Dol Amroth on the siege as Shadow. Because that's the
Yeah.
only place they can go and get both Gandalf the White and Aragorn.
You have to give up in that scenario. That's such a difficult choice because So let's suppose now the few people play, which I
Oh,
think
actually, yeah, he doesn't even need the armies from Faharad because he can just muster up elites
indeed, yeah,
just
yeah,
to.
yeah, just in Iragad, and then you go from Ambar into West Arundel,
Yeah, you
you
save
merge.
one die by
Yeah,
not
yeah,
bringing
for
them, but you
sure.
have enough dice, so it makes sense to defend Orthanc. Yeah, in case Gandalf the White. Hmm.
Mm,
I mean, at least
okay.
let's just register that Franatleti will sigh a big sigh of relief now, knowing that there's no day without dawn. Otherwise, you're just completely screwed over. So you get Gandalf the White here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
finally up to 5 dice.
though, you know what? I don't know.
What is
Because
it? Turn 5
no, the thing is,
or turn 4?
I think it's turn four at this point.
He's done what?
Turn four, I
Turn 4.
think.
Yeah, it could
Yeah.
be.
I, I don't know if I would have crowned Aragon instead because,
You can't crown Aragorn right now. Do you really want to move him over to Dol Amroth at this point in time?
but then why separate all these companions? How many chances you're
Yeah,
gonna
because you're
get?
desperate for time. Are you seeing the Fellowship dunk the ring
Okay, but I
if you
agree
do
that it's
nothing in the
desperate
military
time.
game?
But the
There's
thing is
no
that
way.
no, I agree with that. But at least if I'm taking a desperate decision, I must follow it through because now there is the chance that if he doesn't crown in Aragon in Dolambrot, he's never going to crown Aragon
Well, you
because
can crown him in Ministerial. That's only gonna take you one more
yeah,
die.
okay,
Um,
but
but
I don't know.
yeah, it's awkward. I mean, sure, it's very awkward. Um, but I think there's a very real threat that Dol Amroth is put under siege this turn if you move them over to Dol Amroth. So if you crown Aragorn, you would have to move to Dol Amroth, crown Aragorn, and then run away,
That's the
probably.
thing that
So
I
you're
was,
not getting
yeah.
Gandalf the White.
No, but that's the thing that I was
So
thinking actually. But probably also at the end of the day, that doesn't help too much because what are you doing with all those companions? Okay, you got Aragon, fair enough. But then what are you doing with it? Like, is
yeah, good
yeah,
question. Hmm.
I don't know.
I
It's tough.
think the advantage of getting Gandalf first is that you can wait and see what the shadow does and then react to that. So you could, for
Yeah,
example,
for
bring
sure.
a lot of companions over to Dol Amroth and then run away from Dol Amroth, leaving some companions in there to fight. And you can wait with that decision a little longer so you have more information. But
Yeah,
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 crowning Aragorn afterwards is going to be a little more challenging versus crowning well, not crowning, but flipping Gandalf is much easier because that can happen anywhere on the board.
yeah. It's
But yeah,
passing
it's
again.
just such an awkward position. And look at the nations too, right? There's only 2 nations not at war, and the Fellowship is on step 3. So we're
Yeah,
certainly seeing, almost certainly seeing Mouth of Sauron make an appearance in the not too distant future,
yeah.
probably.
Um, do you move now with the fellowship given the situation?
No way, no way. You just separated everyone to
I
get some dice
know,
and
I
get a
know.
military game going. But
But
yeah,
at the same time, I don't know if I don't know. Probably it did. Like
not
I
this turn. You definitely want to move them at some point because, I mean, I think you would move them. I think there's different philosophies on how you can play the military game. You
oh,
can
and also
either go
going
full
for
on. Yeah, it's a sneaky, nasty
yeah,
attack. But
yeah, you're going for Minas Tirith.
I would have liked the Dol Amroth attack more than this Minas Tirith attack because you're not actually getting Aragorn this turn. So you don't really need the Will of the West. So you can
Hmm.
defend against it, I think. Well, actually, you might get Aragorn if you go for the dual emerald thing, but this is so risky. Oh. Hmm.
Also because, from three people perspective, the shadow player cannot get to the landmark this round yet.
Not anymore. No, not anymore, I don't think. Which is why I don't like this play. I'm just thinking maybe it's still a good play because
I
you...
actually like it because I think it's reinforcing the sense of security in the three people player. In like, yes, you can go to the landmark, and
Yeah.
because the shadow player thinks that there is the shadow. Sorry, the free people player doesn't know that the shadow has Nazgul strike in hand. Therefore,
Yeah.
he can only expect like one attack into Pelargir or Minas Tirith.
And you
Unless,
can't
yeah,
get to Lamadon, so the
yeah,
best action for the free people would be to run away from
yes,
Dol
yes,
Amroth at this, so you can still besiege them with 3 regulars. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
yeah.
Um,
But if you're attacking Minas Tirith now, you cannot do that. What? Yeah, Minas
and
Tirith
you
is
are
attack.
attacking Minas Tirith now. Okay, interesting.
Okay. So he's probably giving
I'm
up.
just wondering if you're leaving yourself a little too vulnerable to a free people military attempt because you have a lot of empty strongholds or very weakly defended strongholds. And we've all seen turns where Shadow rolls like 5 eyes and no musters, and you don't have a ring anymore.
For sure, I get
So
the
it's,
feeling
it's
that
definitely a little risky to have nothing in Morannon, nothing in Barad-dûr, nothing in Dol Guldur, and only very small armies in Moria and Orthanc. Well, I guess you still have 1 Mustard Eye left, so who knows?
that's what I was going to say. I feel like Michele expressively kept to the side that last master
Yeah,
because of this
probably.
scenario. Yeah.
And it definitely puts a lot of pressure on the free people because you're threatening Minas Tirith, Woodland Realm to get to 6 VP. There's still a giant army in Helm's Deep that can take Edoras. And you still have that giant army in Iron Hills, which might not take Erebor, who knows, but definitely would take Pelargir.
Mm.
But now you don't put pressure on Dol Amroth. You cannot go to Lemedon this turn anymore.
No, you cannot.
Do you give free people time to crown Aragorn? But what is Aragorn gonna do? Well, gives an extra die. But you're trading Minas Tirith for it. Yeah, awkward. Very awkward.
I mean, I guess at this point, the strategy for the shadow is I have Elm's Deep. I'm going to take probably maybe now. I think this is his idea. Let's see. But maybe let's take now Wooden Realm. Then let's go for Erebor, and then let's go for Minas Tirith, and then I need 2 cities, which can be Dale and Prague.
Yeah, I don't know that you need to risk Erebor right now.
No, I mean not now, but probably I can expect Michele for attacking Woodland Realm now. Sorry, you said Erebor or Woodland Realm?
Woodland Realm. What?
Okay. Why not? I mean, Deadly Strike is kind of like, what's the worst can happen?
That
2
was what
hits?
you were thinking, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
One other option would be to play Nazgul Strike, move Nazgul around, move the Witch King to Minas Tirith, and then go for Minas Tirith immediately. Because if he happens to have Gods of the Citadel, you would probably not play it now because you want to crown Aragorn, and you can't if you play Gods of the Citadel. So this turn might be the only turn where you can go for Minas Tirith before it gets reinforcements. Also, free people might have help unlooked for, which
That's annoying. Yeah.
might save Minas Tirith or at least cause a lot of pain to the shadow. So I don't think you go for Woodland Realm here. I think if you go for this type of play, I mean Woodland Realm can't do much. There's only Thranduil's archers, whereas in Gondor you have a small army, but still something in Osgiliath. You have companions nearby. You can muster up. You can't muster up in Woodland Realm. The North is not at war. The dwarves are not at war. So I don't think Woodland Realm is a priority.
It's
I
not
think I like
Woodland is not a
Nazgul Strike.
priority. The only reason why I was talking about it is for like the efficiency of movement of Nazgûls. But
But he's not going for Nazgul Strike. Okay.
probably like you can wait for that as well. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be my feeling, that you can wait with the Woodland Realm situation.
Yeah,
Like my current thoughts are probably not take Erebor as a priority, and instead go for Woodland
Minas Tirith.
Realm and Minas Tirith and
Mm.
maybe Dol Amroth, maybe not.
But then you would go with Nazgûl Strike right now.
That is my gut feeling, but yeah, I
Mm.
might be wrong. So he's reinforcing Minas Tirith. I would be a little worried about help unlooked for.
Yeah.
Mm,
Unless he's thinking he can take Minas Tirith with 2 leadership.
he could. He could. I mean, it's not impossible. He has Deadly Strive.
And that the
What else does
Strife
he
would be
have?
much more effective in Minas Tirith than Woodland Realm. That's also another thing.
What would be more effective?
Well, I guess you have in what's the average of hits that you can do with Deadly Strife? Is it like something between
Uh,
3 and 4? Something like
I
that?
think 4. I think 4 or
Okay, 4.
3.75 or something.
And you can do much more damage in Minas Tirith than Woodland Realm, just because there is a
Yeah,
much
but
more
it's
frequent.
very likely that free people have a very strong combat card in hand, like Daylight. Though we've seen one Daylight with Caliban's
Yeah,
Galadrim,
yeah, for sure.
so
But
so there's only going to be one Daylight. If you play Daylight, the number of hits would go down to like 2.5, which is still pretty good. Yeah, which is still pretty good. If you get like, even if you only get 2 hits, you're fighting against 3 hit points.
right, is Fernandez is asking, can Legolas go with Gandalf? He
No,
can, but
Legolas is not a
Gandalf
Hobbit.
cannot, but he cannot move for 4 regions. I mean, they can move together, but not for 4 regions, I guess. Cannot move for space, so I
Yeah,
think he
yeah.
can.
It's
Yeah.
4 spaces. He definitely can't take Legolas with him. He can only travel fast with 1 Hobbit.
So this move is telling me like some intent of military actions from Franatleti, which is kind of expected at this point of the game. But maybe Moria, maybe Dol Guldur, maybe
Yeah, I don't know if
yeah.
you would have to wait for next turn's roll to see what the strategy is. You definitely pressure something. If you have through day and at night, then things might get scary. And he
Oh,
musters into
okay.
Orthang, leaving Dol Guldur completely open.
Yeah, interesting. Why that?
So
And kind
yeah,
of without hesitance, like he went straight there.
right away. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
Well, I mean, I
small.
guess because you're afraid of the end cards, right?
Yeah,
That is the
but yeah, okay,
downside
interesting.
of emptying Orthang this early on to attack Helm's Deep. But I totally think it was worth it. I think that was a very good call, even if it causes him to muster up an Orthang now.
I don't know.
And
Maybe I
crucially,
would.
Gandalf is not in Rohan or in Fangorn, so he can only play Franatleti can only play one end card at a time. He cannot chain them. Not
Would
right
you
now.
have considered maybe one regular and one regular? Like that sounds like a good compromise between Dumbledore and Orphan.
Yeah, that is what I was thinking about, to
Mhm.
not have Dol Guldur be completely empty.
Yeah.
Um, but I can see the point. There's no way that the only way that three people would threaten Dol Guldur immediately is if instead of getting Aragorn crowned, you play through a day and a night, and then you still have the hybrid die to muster up in Dol Guldur.
Hmm.
And I mean, CircleDakkon might be thinking about mustering up now, which might sound a little weird, but you don't know what you're gonna roll next turn, and he might not roll any musters. Okay, he
Ah,
goes for Woodland Realm.
yeah.
Interesting.
I was going with Deadly Save.
Towards an area. Wow, and that actually does something.
Sure.
Why does he only reroll
Yeah, why
2 dice?
yeah, it's an extra one, no? Should we
He has 3 rerolls.
wait a second, let me say to Michele over WhatsApp, I need to reroll one more. Before they do an illegal and everything must be done.
Yeah.
Un second. Michele, devi dare un dado di più nel comando, di significato in più, altrimenti poi si fa nell'illegal e non ci vogliamo finire in quel casino. Actually,
Yeah, we want to play fair. That's definitely a rules mistake because he has 3 rerolls. So,
yes, I forgot to eagle.
So he has 1 more reroll hitting at 4s.
Let's see.
And if that connects, then Woodland Realm is gone. So 50-50 to take Woodland Realm right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was me.
Shout out to you, Jacopo. Okay.
No.
Didn't matter in the end, but it was a 50% chance, so
Sure.
it definitely was a significant thing. Yeah. All right, press draw makes sense. You have to discard anyways, so might as well press and maybe play 1 more card. Relentless Assault. Okay, that's not very good, I would think.
No.
And I don't think you play Cruel Weather here. But
No.
Flux of Crebain is not very good, so you could use that, I guess.
Yeah, I was thinking about it at the same time.
Rolling
Yeah,
3 dice,
terrible.
hitting on 6s, or 2 hitting on 5s is slightly better. It's not much of a difference, but it's slightly better, so
Yeah, I probably
yeah.
would play it.
And I think the other cards are too good to throw them into here. But yeah, I would play Flux.
Yeah, it's gone for it.
Yeah, makes sense. And he gets the 6, so that's Woodland Realm gone. But yeah, Franatleti continuing with getting maximum hits almost every time.
At least.
But and now he's up to 6 dice against 9. So but
That's
he's
gonna
in a
be
very bad
good.
spot.
Yeah. Oh!
Yeah, but it's still very bad. Now Day Without Dawn. Okay.
Yeah.
What a relief. I mean, if we had seen Day Without Dawn 1 round earlier, then that would have been it. I still think like Shadow is a big favorite here. So you're up to 4 victory points now. So if 3 people try any military shenanigans, you might still raise them. Minas Tirith is not that strong. I mean, there's a 13 hit point army fighting against 5 hit points. Yeah.
So I agree with you that Erebor doesn't look very appealing at the moment. I don't know, maybe you don't agree with that. Maybe you think it's good. But
No, it's not good. You don't want terrible
yeah.
right now.
So what's
Not
the
with
plan?
some reinforcements.
What's the
I
plan
think the
for us?
plan is get Minas Tirith right now. Or at least as soon as you can.
No, for sure. But after, like, what's the bigger plan for the Shadow here?
Well, then you don't really need much of a plan. As long as the Fellowship is not moving, you just cover your bases and look for openings, I think. You have all the time in the world then.
Okay, sure.
Like, you just mostly start reacting to what the Free People is doing. Once you have Ministerial, you're at 6 victory points, you have a lot of options. I think I would like to muster up in all the strongholds and have a big mobile army like the one in West Toronto, so if Free People does anything, you make them pay for it.
Despite the role of
Help on look 2. Okay, so he did have it. Okay, that
Yeah.
would have been my concern as the Shadow. And that can defend Minas Tirith, funnily enough, because it might force the big army to retreat, and suddenly Minas Tirith might have
That's a great card. Yeah, that's a great card right
Yeah.
now. So important.
That was my reasoning for pushing for Ministerius because
Yeah.
of that card for Guards of the Citadel. And I mean, Shadow is only rolling 1 combat die. Even though they have a much bigger army, it's just about inflicting damage here. Like 3 people will probably lose the fight if Shadow presses for it. But if they inflict enough of a casualty, then I guess you can always move the West Rondo army over to Ministerius. Wow, power 2 great, okay. Well, I guess, yeah, you don't really need it to cover the Elven bases.
That's some damage.
Yeah, Franatleti has been getting good results on combat every time this game.
4
But
damage.
he's been doing much worse in the action die department.
This actually...
Yeah, 4 damage. This is very painful. And now, do you stay here as Shadow? You will probably win the fight.
No way. Would you stay?
I think it's a tough call, because if you retreat, then you will not easily get Ministerius. Whereas if you stay and if you win the fight, you force 3 people to either sortie out of Ministerius with the Southrons coming for help, but you can inflict so much damage. Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know.
It's a tough call, I think. Like, my gut feeling says probably retreat. You have time with Shadow right now. But yeah, I don't know. I think this play makes Erebor much more appealing now. Because if you have Helm's Deep and the dual line, not only will you get Mouth of Sauron sooner, but you would also be on 7 victory points.
Yeah, the Mouth of Sauron also is a good incentive for going over there.
Because I think with this move, Franatleti has probably saved Ministerius for now.
Yeah, I mean, the
Or
Gondor
at least
situation...
the big Southern army to come over, and then you suddenly have Umbar, which is very poorly defended.
For sure, the Gondor situation has completely changed after this role.
Well, not yet, but it might change completely. Or at least seriously. Yeah.
This is a serious change. I don't know. I think, in my opinion.
And that's what I meant by saying Ministerius was more of a concern for me than Woodland Realm, because what Woodland Realm gonna do, right? But Ministerius was yeah, there's more cards that interact with Ministerius than with Woodland Realm, with Help Unlooked For and Guards of the Citadel.
And he stays.
And he stays. Yeah, I can see why. You have the Western army to come and help, and you probably win the fight. Unless Franatleti just rolls 3 hits every time. But Shadow only has about a 50% chance to get 1 hit.
Oh, that is
33% on the combat roll, and then if that fails, another 33% on the reroll. I think is about an expected hits of 1. Of 0.1, 0.5. What am I talking?
Dread and Despair.
Dread and Despair. Interesting. Yeah, you could. I don't think it's super worth it, but sure.
I mean, it could be worth it if you use only one of it, which again is not that worth it. Because
yeah, but then you only stop 33% of a hit. No, he does forfeit 2. Okay. But Franatleti still gets the
yeah, I mean, like...
and CircleDakkon doesn't, so then it didn't do anything for CircleDakkon. And you spend a very good card. Dread and Despair is so good. I guess the value drops significantly if Gandalf the White is involved, though. Do you retreat now?
Yeah. I don't see the point of staying, really.
I see the point, but it's getting more and more risky. You're losing elites now.
Yeah. Staying.
Which might be okay.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm saying that it's worth retreating because I have some PTSD.
Oh, that's the worst roll Franatleti has. in
Yeah, still
combat.
okay. Still 1 hit. It's not
Yeah, but
bad.
this was big because now
Yeah.
the
Okay.
shadow hit
Sure.
was big because now 3 people only rolls 2 dice.
For sure.
I mean, you
For sure.
still press as 3 people. You roll more dice than the shadow, and now you definitely stay. Yeah, I think staying made sense.
Mm,
It just means that you have to commit the Westerondo army.
maybe I just have PTSD. I don't know. It's possible.
Okay, another hit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you still press? Possibly,
No. No, I wouldn't.
but maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, I think now you wouldn't press. Yeah.
No.
Though I guess you could. Ah, no. Next action is gonna be shadows, right? I'm thinking about a
Yeah.
sortie out of Ministerius, but that would not work.
Well, that's also a crazy move. No, like I mean, it can work, but it's
Yeah, it
very.
doesn't work if the Westerondo army marches to Osgiliath's next action, and that's exactly what I think is gonna happen. Yeah, I think the stop here is. But look at that. I mean, he inflicted 7 hits with
Yeah.
Help on Lottor, and he lost only 3 hit points. So he's up 4 hits, and he also got rid of a Dread and Despair.
Yeah, that help on
That was
look
really
was
good for
yeah
3 people.
a huge contribution from that card.
And now imagine if he still has Guards of the Citadel in hand. That would be big.
Yeah, I mean, like, who knows?
It's unlikely. He's only seen 7 strategy cards so far, so less than a 50% chance. But
Hmm.
if he has it, he has it.
If he has it, he has it. That's probably one of the best help on look for ever. So
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah, it was good
Hard to
yet.
get more value than that.
Mm.
Yeah, obviously you have to attack Osgiliath, and that gives a lot of breathing room to Dol But I mean, Dol is really far away from the action. You first need to muster up an army there, then you march them
Yeah.
over to Pelagia, and then they become active. But then you also need to worry about Corsairs of Umbar sneaking around Pelagia into Dol so it's all very awkward still. Unless you can take Umbar, then you don't need to worry about the Corsairs anymore.
Yeah, but we'll take Amber still is.
Now, if you had scouting here wouldn't be that good, would it? Retreating to north of Hillian,
Not
doesn't
if he
sound that
to
enticing.
go to Dagorlad. Nah, I don't think.
Yeah, but he has 2 musters. But imagine if he hadn't rolled 2 musters here, then suddenly
Yeah,
everything would be. And he does have scouts, okay. But he
but
retreats into Pelion. That
I,
also makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's the right call there. Yeah.
But that means unless he has Guards of the Citadel, that Ministerial will fall, and Shadow will have 6 victory points.
Yeah.
Because that's a 15 hit point army against only 5 hit points on defense.
Indeed. I know that I'm
But yeah,
supposed.
if he hmm?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just I wanted to say if he does have Guards of the Citadel, he would only play them after CircleDakkon merges the armies into Ministerial to not give it
Yes.
away.
Yes. And
So he might still have it.
I was going to say that I'm supposed to root for my Italian companion, but honestly, if I would be very happy, I would be
Well,
very happy for Franatleti if we pulled out Guards of the Citadel right now.
I think that would be a very miraculous comeback for Franatleti if he manages after those early turns to turn the game around. That would be so impressive. I still think Shadow is massively ahead here. And I think most people kind of root for the underdog. I know I do. So right now I'm cheering a little for the 3 people because they've had it really rough early on. In
Yeah,
case
yeah.
you joined late, round 1 0 movement, move with a ring. Oh no, actually no, he didn't get any movement round 1. So he moved with a ring and got hit, and it was a 0 reveal.
Yeah,
Wait,
what
did he get movement round 1?
No, I think he
No, he
undid.
didn't, right? He rolled 2 Masters and 2 Palantirs, didn't he?
Yes. Yeah, turn
And
one
then
was
round
two
2
masters,
was
two
where he
pan.
got a
Yeah,
good roll. Yeah.
indeed, yes.
And then
CircleDakkon
round 3, 0 movements again. So it was, yeah, very, very rough.
yeah, CircleDakkon
And CircleDakkon got great cards.
decides to use a Day Without Dawn now, which is
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess he didn't really have any other card that he wanted to play. So I still think you play Nazgul Strike, move the Nazgul around, and then attack Minas Tirith.
yeah.
He's considering moving the regular from forwards. Okay. Think I would have preferred to have him there, but yeah. What else do you move? I think honestly I would move the guys from Nern over to Gogoroth.
Right, yes.
Though with this lockdown now on Minas Tirith, it seems less likely that Moranen and Barad-dûr will come under attack. Do you play Nazgul Strike now? Oh, you play Ringwraith. Interesting. I think I would have probably kept Ringwraith for later on.
I don't know if it's time to keep the Nazgul Strike for a better situation on the hand pool. Even though it doesn't look like this is gonna be really the case of the game for the Fellowship.
Well, you never know, but
But
Fellowship needs to buy a lot of time to get there.
yeah, it doesn't even bother with the Fellowship. It takes away the Nazgul.
Yeah, why bother? You only have a single die. There's only 1 movement left, so
No, I completely
extremely
agree.
unlikely.
Yeah, yeah.
And you want that Nazgul with a Southern army, otherwise the dwarves might actually sortie or do a field battle and win. Unlikely, but could happen against their leadership.
No, at
Yeah, you
least you have
definitely take hits.
also
Against no cards, you kill 2. Yeah. And that probably seals the deal for Minas Tirith.
Let's see.
Yeah, three hits. That's goodbye, Minas Tirith. Wow, actually, okay. That's
5.
too many.
So that's like yeah.
But Franatleti,
Hits
yeah,
back.
he still rolls really well, and I think you kill the Sauron elites, right?
Yeah, that's what
Kill
I would
one,
do.
downgrade the other 2. No, okay.
Okay.
Because if you're not planning on fighting with this army anymore, then I think it makes sense to downgrade them in case military action is happening. You want those elites on defense, and you only have 6 of them. What?
To do for
Be
Witch
right back.
King. Yes. Okay. So. Oh, the Great Company gets played.
Okay, I'm back.
So the Great Company was just played.
The Grey Company. All right. Draw for Witch King. Okay. I was confused because CircleDakkon is writing in blue, even though he's the shadow player. Was that time to do that earlier than he did? To fish for
Yeah, I was actually thinking
God.
about this. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I know
Maybe, yeah, when
why.
the Haronda army attacked Osgiliath, you could have played it.
Indeed.
Maybe. I mean, the odds were not that high to find a 2 out of 17. Not good odds.
Why not?
But if you do find it, then yeah. And still he's choosing not to use Nazgul Strike. So I guess now it makes sense because
Yeah,
now
I
you
mean,
don't have a
right now
penalty
it's
anymore.
not. Yes, it's not that important right now.
So we are going for Erebor at this point, which, yes, I think it makes sense.
Yeah,
Because
makes
everything else,
sense.
yeah.
For multiple reasons.
Yeah, the
But that
mouth as
army
well.
might not be strong enough, especially not if 3 people found Dane. But even if they didn't, that army might need some reinforcements.
That's why you might have a good use of those two masters
Yeah,
left.
but I mean, you have a lot of time. The Fellowship has not moved in a while, so I still feel very strongly about Dol Guldur and Morannon being empty. You still have
Mhm.
cards like, I mean, Pass of the Roses doesn't do that much, but it's basically a move too.
Yeah, Fury Day and Night as well.
Yeah. Also, you can just take Moria maybe from Lorien.
Yeah.
Probably not, but oh, he moves. Okay.
Hmm. Does he have Kirdan? Maybe.
Well, you don't need to worry about Corsairs right now.
No, but I mean, maybe is he going for Amber? That's my, that's my question.
For what?
I'm wondering if he's trying to go for Amber at this point. Umbar.
Ah, for Umber. Yeah.
Umbar.
Maybe. I
That's why
mean,
I was thinking Kirdan's ship.
like I said, oh, I don't know if I actually elaborated on that point, but there's 2 ways of playing the military game. One is to just stall for time and slowly move the Fellowship forward, and the other is to go full on attack mode and try and get the 4 victory points. And
Yep.
so far, it doesn't look like Franatleti is believing in defense. So if he wants to win, he'd need victory points fast, because once the shadow is on like 8 victory points, even if you do get up to 4, you would still lose the race. And
And
especially if you vacate Pelagia for it.
yeah, and also I figured that even without the three people military victory scenario, there is a chance that CircleDakkon will win next round.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. If he can win
yeah,
next round if
but
he gets good rolls.
so in order to avoid that, I guess you need to reinforce Edoras and the Pelagia as much as you can. That's, I think, also part of the reasoning because Dale is gonna
But
fall.
if you're just defending and not moving the Fellowship and not threatening the 4 victory points,
Yeah.
then there's no reason for the shadow to hurry.
Interesting move of the army from Edoras into fold.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he's thinking about retaking Minas Tirith, but that
Yeah,
seems way too expensive. But
very
I mean,
well.
you're really desperate as 3 people. I mean, what do you do? It's tough.
Yeah, what could be another army that you would like to move? I don't think maybe the one from Lorien towards Dimildale.
Yeah, Lorien to Dimrildale is something that you might consider, but that opens the possibility of Helm's Deep moving to Lorien in maybe smaller numbers, but still. What's the second muster? Oh, Gondor Elite. Okay.
Mm.
I was thinking he would muster 1 in Pelagia and 1 in Fold, but chose to only go for Gondor. And now comes the defensive mustering. Yeah, makes sense. Umber is definitely a threat, yeah. Hmm. Balrog, nice. That's very good for defending Moria if need be.
Indeed. Monster
And
Rouse.
Monsters Roused is basically Desperate Battle, which is also very good. So turn 6 now. Funny, it doesn't feel like it's turn 6. Feels more like it's turn 8 or something.
Yeah. That's the magic of efficient dice and efficient shadow military progress.
Yeah, but also from a game state, like in a more military-focused game, but Shadow is threatening a win this turn, and they get a great roll here.
My god, that's like 6 attacks. No, wait,
Only
7.
one muster though, so CircleDakkon will be glad that he mustered up last turn.
No, 6 attacks.
And 4 attacks for the 3 people. But the question is, how do you actually win the game as 3 people? So I think Fellowship is definitely gone. There's no way the Fellowship makes it to Modo anymore. Dol Guldur is not that well defended, but you don't really have the dice to take 2 strongholds this round, do you? Even if you had...
No, you cannot. You can put under siege Ambar and you can put under siege the Guldur, I think.
3,
But
1,
that's
2,
it.
3. Yeah, only with 6 attack dice.
Unless you have Further in Night.
Even then, you use through a day and a night to South Ennian Vale as one action, put Dol Guldur under siege, second action,
no,
attack
indeed.
Dol Guldur,
Yes.
third action, then attack Westeronder, attack Umbar, and besiege Umbar. Or no, the other way around. First, put it under siege and then start the siege combat. So you need 6 dice, 6 attack to get 4 victory points at this point in time. At least I don't see a more efficient way.
But I think
So it's impossible to do this turn.
Yeah.
And CircleDakkon still threatens to win this turn if he's successful in Erebor. And apparently 3 people doesn't have Dane.
Well.
So now Shadow definitely has time. So maybe not the army size that they would like.
Oh, perfect counter.
Oh, nice. Advantageous position is actually good here.
Yeah.
So it does nothing again.
Still 3 hits.
3 hits.
Yeah.
Very painful.
Let's see if these dwarves. Yes.
Yeah, 3 hits back.
They hit very hard. So that's 3 hits back.
Yeah, I don't think you press.
No.
But that's still a very good round of combat for the Shadow.
Yeah. Yeah, I was worried that battle could go very, very wrongly for him, for the Shadow.
Yeah, but even if it does go wrong, you have time.
You have time for sure.
Yeah, stop draw is the correct move. And mustering is a long plan war is actually not bad to put up some more units for defense if need be. I don't think they are needed, but
3, 4, 5 attacks again.
yeah, how do you actually stop Shadow from just winning this turn? If you lose Erebor, you also lose Dale. And then right now, Edoras is empty.
You need to defend Edoras. That's the thing.
Yeah, but you also need to defend the Shire if
The
you go for the longer game. Like
Shire,
from the point of view that
yeah,
if Shadow is on 9 victory points, how do you win the game?
yeah, no, for sure. You need to reinforce those cities for sure, because you must give them you must give to the shadow player the prospect of taking the last point like a complete challenge to them. So yes, the Shire.
Yeah, but you
should be-
still have 3 positions that you need to defend. And I mean, the North is not even at war yet, so it's impossible to
Yeah,
really
the
put up
Shire.
much of a fight for the Shire.
I guess the Shire you can still defend kind of from Ered Luin and the Grey Havens. Oh, Kildan.
Hidden ships.
There you go.
Hmm. Yeah, but what are they gonna do?
Well,
Reclaim Minas Tirith?
yeah,
Do
I
you
mean,
still trust the dwarves?
yeah, because I mean, you're right. Because even if you go for Ambar, like you cannot win this round, and the next round, the Shadow player wins
Almost certainly.
unless you're not opening off. I take Ambar easily, and then I have enough time to go back and defend Pelagir. I mean, or retaking Pelagir, something like that.
Maybe,
Maybe.
but then Edoras is also an issue.
Yes, Edoras. Yeah, there are so many problems for for free people.
Yeah, that's it's just a nightmare to play now. I still think though that splitting the companions like Franatleti did was not a mistake. I think the Fellowship was in pretty dire straits at that point, so I think it was reasonable to try that.
Yeah, for sure. I see the the logic behind it. It makes sense.
And yeah, I think you take another shot at Erebor, no? You have another desperate battle in hand.
Yeah,
7 hit points to 3.
before
Looks good to me.
before Dine appears next turn.
And actually, you can play Cruel Weather instead of Desperate Battle.
I think he's going for
Not
that.
like you're gonna need the card effect anymore. And yeah, I think 2 advantageous positions are gone. Maybe even all of them. No, we haven't seen Kindred of Glorfindel yet.
Yeah, going for Cruel's death. So Cruel weather. Yeah.
Oh, and we didn't see Book of Mazabal either, so there's still 2
Yeah.
advantageous positions. But I mean, that's fine.
Airball. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Confusion could be something.
Yeah, that's
Like if you get a big confusion hit. No, he doesn't have it.
shit one.
And that's 3 hits. Oh, 4 hits. No, 3 hits. -1, so 2
1,
hits.
2. Yeah. 2 hits back.
Yeah, even with 2 hits back, you have 5 regulars against 1 regular. Interesting. Is he thinking about a press? I thought he would have enough attacks that he doesn't need to press here, but sure.
Yeah, I guess you don't need to
He
press.
still has 4 attacks, and he only needs. Well, actually, okay, he needs 3 to.
Yeah, you need 3 of them, but therefore you can attack still another time
But you
without
don't need to
pressing.
win this round, right? We have established that it's
Also,
impossible.
yeah, also.
Yeah, I don't think I would press here, but you certainly could.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong about it, but yeah, as you said, there is no rush. Anyway, I think he's going for it. Due into breaking of the fellowship.
Yeah, very useless card at this point in time. I mean, it's a great card. The Dredge and Despair is very good in a lot of situations, as long as Gandalf the White is not involved.
Actually, that could be like a key card to win this round in reverse.
In reverse, yeah. Yeah, I don't really see a way for the 3 people. I mean, they might stall for one more turn, maybe even more turns. They can stall for a long time, actually, but not in a way that gets them closer to a win, I don't think.
Mm.
Because if they want victory points for themselves, they need to open up. And with a shadow on 8 or 9 victory points, that's not something you can do. And if you're just constantly reclaiming stuff without
So
moving the fellowship, then you're not playing to any outs.
I
Either he
actually,
starts moving the fellowship, but it's so far away from
yeah,
Mount Doom that it will never get there.
I actually misread. There is no press on.
Yeah, he took it back. Yeah,
Yeah. Mm. No, I mean, as you're saying, like it's the situation, like it's kind of like Franatleti needs a miracle to get out of this.
I mean, he needed a miracle when he split the companions
Yeah.
because at that point Shadow was in a very good position, and the fellowship was just way too slow,
Hmm.
and on 4 dice. Now it's I don't know what kind of miracle would save him here. It's been a rough game for the 3 people, but
Just
his combat style
rolling,
is great.
just rolling sixes and your opponent not. That's kind of the miracle that you're hoping for.
He has been rolling 6s. I mean, Franatleti, I think I'd be interested to see the stats. I think Franatleti has ruled very well in combat,
Yeah, I
but
think.
CircleDakkon brought very big numbers and fought in places where the 3 people were kinda weak. I mean, he put Minas Tirith under siege with only 5 hit points defending. Woodland Realm only 3 hit points. Helm's Deep only had 2 hit points defending. So the only battle that was tougher was Erebor with 6 HP.
Hmm.
So he could afford Franatleti hitting above average. And I think CircleDakkon also rolled pretty well in combat.
Yeah.
Like usually the first round of combat is the most important, and sometimes you see 3 people rolling 4 or even 5 hits, and Shadow getting nothing or only 1 hit. And those types of rolls just didn't happen this game. But they are unlikely. Yeah, I guess Franatleti needs to retake Minas Tirith
Hmm.
in a decisive manner, like and you roll 2 hits plus 2 natural 6s, 4 hits in 1 round. And then if he retakes Minas Tirith, he has a little bit of breathing room because there's no army to oppose them. But it's such a low odds.
But yeah, I mean, why not use Desperate Battle? Because
Yeah, where else are you gonna need it?
yeah, there.
Small overkill doesn't really matter.
Yeah. What if?
So 8 victory points. Rage, that's a great card.
So yeah, that changes.
That's enough to take the Shire.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can muster. Oh, but that's only 9
Wait.
VP. I was
One.
thinking you can muster an elite to North Dunland, then Rage of the Dunlandings to Cardelon, and then with the remaining 2 dice you can
No, I
move and
mean,
attack
you
the
can
Shire.
make it this round, but you're not mastering. You're just playing Rage directly.
Yeah,
And
and it doesn't work because then you're only going for the Shire and Dale. But once you attack the Shire or Dale, the 3 people can muster in the other location. And then it becomes quite scary. 4 hit points in Erebor taking 3 hit points in Dale, or 2 hit points in South Eredluin attacking 3 hit points in the Shire. That's very unlikely to work. I don't think you win this turn.
Yeah, no, for sure not.
Actually, you could win this turn if you go for Edoras and Dale.
But
That's quite scary. You haven't seen
yeah.
any end card yet, and if you lose that battle, then you might lose Helm's Deep, and suddenly there's a lifeline for the 3 people.
Yeah, the tide changes quite rapidly. As you
I wouldn't say it changes, but it opens up some possibilities.
as you said, there is no rush. So
And the other fun thing is, when you have Dale, you unlock Mouth of Sauron.
yeah.
Not like you need him, but why not?
Yeah. So Dale is definitely a target for this round, I would say.
I would think so. It doesn't look like 3 people has Confusion, which would be the card I would be most afraid of as Shadow. Because I did roll 3 1s into Confusion before. And imagine if the Witch King attacks the Shire, the Dale, and rolls 3 1s into Confusion. Then Franatleti might kill the Witch King.
Yeah. So
But if he had Confusion, he would have played it in Erebor, I'm pretty sure. And he went a combat round there without playing a card, so he doesn't have it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Like, we would have seen it already. So, I mean, you could have kept Shield Wall for another scenario. So,
Yeah, I think you probably have to vacate Lorien and do something. Or try and retake Minas Tirith. Yeah, I think those are the only 2 options you really have. I think vacating Lorien is more risky because that threatens, or that might get the Rohan army or the Isengard army from Helm's Deep going towards Lorien. Franatleti is changing the die.
going back to it.
So he moves back to, okay, that makes sense, yeah. And he still has that 1 muster left with a will. But I mean, taking on 8 hit points in a siege battle is very uncomfortable. I'm hoping for him that he has Andy
to say the least.
And he doesn't even have Gandalf there either, right? Yeah, no, he doesn't.
But you can bring him over there now, I guess. You attack Minas Tirith, you bring Gandalf, and then you can attack.
Yeah, you could. You could.
If you want to be sure, but
it costs you an extra die.
For sure. No.
Yeah, and the Nazgul Strike is still an option. At least the Fellowship did not declare yet. Does he want to snipe Aragorn with Black Breath? I don't think that matters too much. The game is probably only going on for 1 more round.
Yeah.
I don't think killing Aragorn makes much of a difference.
I think you take Dale this round, you put the Mouth of Sauron in Moria, and next round you prepare yourself. Or maybe you also don't need necessarily the Mouth of Sauron, but like maybe you can also reinforce in North Dunland, and then you prepare yourself to go full on the Shire next turn. Even if you master
No card, interesting.
a couple of times there, it's pretty much doomed.
He gets the 1 hit, okay. So everyone at war now. Yeah, and I think you don't gamble for a win this round. You could gamble on it in Rohan with a Helm's Deep army, but that's way too risky. If that goes south, then and yeah, and also you would have to defend Minas Tirith for that to be an option. I think now you play Nazgul Strike and send some Nazgul over to Minas Tirith. You don't care too much if they die. You have time, but you
To
don't want
find
the
a-
Witch King to die.
to
I
find
think actually you might want to move the Witch King over to the Fellowship.
Funny that the Fellowship gets one Nazgul.
Yeah, I don't think you throw him into Minas Tirith. You might win that fight, but is it really worth the risk?
Mm.
I mean, I guess you have Dread and Despair. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing. I agree with you.
that's the
It's it doesn't look completely necessary, but
it does kind of shut the door on Minas Tirith, though. I mean, there's no Gandalf. Yeah, now you definitely need Gandalf, and
but
then it's a
yeah,
little risky
yeah, that's the thing.
Now we can
because
see
yeah,
Gandalf.
you can bring Gandalf this,
Yeah.
and you can even bring Legolas and the Hobbit to Edoras. I think that's a good move. Bring Gandalf to Minas Tirith and Legolas and the Hobbit to Edoras,
Yeah.
so that in case CircleDakkon tries to close the game out this round, you have stuff in Edoras.
Indeed.
Huh. That's apparently not what Franatleti has in mind when he's hovering the wheel.
Or maybe he has Guards of the Citadel.
Well, those would be playable now, but
What? Sorry?
I think Gandalf is much more impactful than one extra lead.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I think it would be. Yeah,
And
but
I would like to keep the
it's a
will.
legal play for the people who don't know. Like you can play Guards of
Yes,
the
it
Citadel
is.
right now. Yeah.
It is a very legal play. But I think the stuff he could do on the board is better than that. He's just straight up mustering more stuff.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I mean, because there was also the possibility that we completely missed for the Amber Army to just go to Pelagi, which is still there, by the way.
Right, that's true. Yeah, I didn't think about it.
Yeah, I also missed that completely, but it's like Pelagi like open.
That's true. Pelagi is not very well defended at the moment.
Yeah, and we're gonna
And
see
that's
the army.
exactly what.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no, it's not what's happening.
But I would expect that to happen. Why not? Yes, I mean, just go for Pelagi. Why not?
But I think now is when you use the character die and move companions around. Gandalf to Minas Tirith, Legolas and the Hobbit to
Yeah.
Edoras, and at least Boromir to Pelagia, maybe even bring someone else over.
Yeah.
No, I think just Boromir to Pelagia and you hope for the best.
But then, I mean,
Maybe
yes.
someone else.
But then retaking Minas Tirith becomes even more difficult. It's true that you have Gandalf, but you have less power of attack if you send some other
No,
companions
it's
like Boromir.
basically the same. You exchange Boromir for Gandalf.
Yeah,
Oh,
but it's
he's
one
just
or less.
mustering.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's just mustering. I think companions would be more impactful than
I agree
plus
with you on
strength.
that. Yeah.
But I don't think it matters much. There's no reason for CircleDakkon to go for this fight now. He can just muster them out and go for next turn, because Fellowship is not threatening anything. They haven't moved, they don't have a victory point. Why risk it?
Oh, he's going for $8.
It seems like it. Unexpected for me.
With a good
Yeah, you
end
don't
card.
have
Hmm.
with any card, really. I mean, I don't think Shadow has great cards for this. That's Valor, okay. And
Nothing.
first really bad roll for CircleDakkon.
Ouch.
And that's an okay roll, yeah.
And now you stop.
Probably, yeah. No, okay.
No? What?
It's 8 hit points against 8 hit points. CircleDakkon rolls more dice, but only 2 more dice.
Okay, but like, am I the only one seeing the danger
Ah,
of this?
Franatleti doesn't have anything. Ooh, 4 hits.
Four.
Okay, that's
Okay. This is lucky. This is very lucky.
slightly lucky for sure, yeah. But still
Yeah.
only 6 hit points
Yeah, at
against
this
4.
point you press.
Yeah, now you press.
Okay, yes.
2
Two.
hits? Okay, that's big that he got one on the reroll. Yeah, okay, Franatleti. Now it doesn't roll so well anymore. Then it's GG, okay. I don't think you needed to risk it. I can see why there was a good chance that he would win this round, so why
Yeah.
not go for it? GG.
GG. I think this was like turn 6 or 7. I missed the count
I
at some
think
point.
turn 6. Oh, no, or maybe turn 7. Yeah, maybe it was turn 7.
6 or 7 or something like that. I don't know exactly. Yeah, well.
Yeah, great game.
Yeah.
I think 3 people got very unlucky early on, and then was just really hard to play. But CircleDakkon also closed the door on any chance that 3 people had by very clever and efficient play.
Yeah, I completely agree. As you said, like this game was very tough on the 3 people since the beginning, and therefore, and also when this happens, like when this happens, and you're you are contender for the title of the world champion in
Yeah,
like,
you need to keep
like
your calm and
your opponent is
believe it.
not gonna let
Go
you
on.
breathe on anything. Like you're gonna,
No,
there's no room.
you have to go for the miracle plays and hope for the best, which is
Yeah.
exactly what Franatleti did. And unfortunately, it wasn't time for the miracle plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was incredibly tough for the 3 people. And I think Franatleti did as well as he could have done. I honestly don't know what else he could have tried to have more of a chance. I mean, he
No, I
was rolling
completely
4
agree.
dice for half the game. And then, yeah, then it's just really late to start anything, especially with Shadow and in very good position already with the armies pressuring key strongholds before you're ready. Yeah.
Yeah. Also in the early game, a very good card for the Shadow.
Yeah, definitely the new powers rising was key here in putting so much pressure on Rohan at very little cost. Yeah, well played game from both of these, and curious to see how game 2 will commence. But CircleDakkon looking on track to defend his title now, 1-0 up. So he only
Yeah.
needs 1 win from the next 2 games to be a back-to-back champion. Very impressive.
Yeah, that's definitely a relief. Like he has still chances to defend his title. Franatleti can still make 2 wins back by back, one after the other.
Absolutely.
So I would definitely like to see a scenario where we go for the third game. That's just more exciting and more
I just
interesting.
hope that game 2 will not be a reverse match in the sense that everything goes wrong for Shadow. That would be so brutal
Yeah,
for
yeah,
Franatleti.
yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining me commentating this game, and also thanks to the viewers. I hope it was an exciting game for you, even though 3 people had a very rough game. And yeah, I'll see myself out. Thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you for participating in this comment, and we will post very soon on the tournament announcement in the general channel when the next match is going to take place. So stay tuned for that, and I expect to publish the video for the people who didn't get to watch this live stream of this match probably around tomorrow or this weekend. So yeah. So thanks
Thank
again,
you.
everybody. Bye bye.
Bye bye.